We're covering Magic versus Nullus, and Tunis and Moscow will be playing simultaneously. But my prediction for that round, Magic versus Nullus, is gonna be so close. I
I
think
think
it's
so
gonna be
too.
close. Magic, he lost 0-3 yesterday, so this is not peak Magic, I think. And Nullus has found his way into the second round of the losers bracket, so he's got some tricks up his sleeve. I think on paper, this should favor Magic, but yeah, I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be an amazing series.
I think so too, but we're not going to have to wait around anymore. We're moving straight in onto game number 1 here. As in the left-hand side of the map, playing in the blue color, it is Magic, and he's going to be showing us some Thor today. His opponent is Nullus as the red Loki. And yes, it is Ghost Lake. Soup, walk me through this one. I need some help here. You're the Norse expert.
Yes, this is funny because we had this matchup yesterday, Rebel versus Recon, the exact same matchup, and not only that, with double gold mine as well. And I really believe this matchup in particular, Thor versus other Norse, it comes down a whole lot to whether there is one or two gold mines. And we do see Nullus already now looking to spy a dwarf here. I think, I don't know what he's maybe aiming for. Either way, double gold mine is available for Magic, and he will be extremely happy for that. Thor player will have additional villagers. He's going to have like 3, 4, 5 additional abilities. What is it, 5 minutes into the game? So having access to 2 gold mines on top of that just means that Magic will be very safe in his base, and Nulls will find it incredibly difficult to actually punish the Thor player here.
Yeah, so it's the innate bonus from Loki that just has that extra damage, like almost cancels out the armory advantage which Thor starts with. So any sort of fighting that the Loki player gets to do early on is like they're happy to do that. And the Thor player is just trying to kind of catch up and let their economy sort of work and give them the lead through that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mentioned yesterday when I was covering the Rebel versus Recon game, when you play Loki here, I'm a Loki main at heart. Whenever I play this matchup versus Thor, I want to strangle the Thor player away from resources. So I want him to stay in his base, not have access to any hunt outside of his base. No, and I want him to fight a lot over the secondary gold. But this is Ghost Lake. There's so many goats. We see already like 9, 10 goats secured for Magic here. And there's 2 gold mines, like we said, 10 goats here. There's berries, there's chicken, there's 3 additional boars already here. And it's just, what do you even strangle the Thor player from? Because there's so many resources here, right?
Yeah, the other thing is it's kind of wild. Isn't it normally the case that the Thor player is the one who kind of gets strangled for the goats because he's got to sit in his main base, get an armory up, and the Loki player is going to be scouting all for that early stage. It kind of looked like Alice missed nearly all the goats. I just got 13
He's
and
got
get and
15,
going for more.
16.
They just keep coming.
Oh my
Did Magic
God.
did Magic even did you go berserk or is he just literally just a goat? What's happening?
I think he just went for a single berserk. And Nullus, he went directly to Magic Space, and he took a round around Magic Space. And I guess he didn't find, yes, you see the scouting pattern here. He went on
Yeah.
top of the ice, probably didn't find any gold, maybe just 2, and then he took the round back. So he hasn't actually been scouting the map very much at all.
Well, I mean, this is never good. If you're playing Loki and your opponent's playing Thor and he's got all the resources in his main base, he can just sit there, turtle up. He can basically just throw down as many Herser as he wants, get that upgrade to boost the Herser favor gather rate, and all of a sudden have infinite gold in his main base, infinite food in his main base, and you're just like, well, how do I punish this? I can never catch up, and all of a sudden the Thor player is going to have heroic age, heavy upgrades, bronze upgrades, the whole works, and be able to just kind of break out, right?
Yep, this is a very, very, very fast advance from Null's 415 on a Ghost Lake map. This is out of the ordinary because I don't think he's going to be able to find much value with this early advance. So while Magic is booming, he's getting those additional villagers out, he's getting all the armory upgrades, obviously. While Magic is doing that, Nullus is advancing super early. He's not getting any eco upgrades, and all he's got to his name right now is a Great Hall and a Temple. And even if he gets a good, nice early army, what even is he going to do with it? Everything is just centered inside of Magic's base here. And a good
Yeah,
defense with the armory and the walls, right?
it's it's almost like the best play here for Nullus maybe should have been to just drop a town center, because there's like, you get the faster advance, and maybe just throwing down a town center and trying to hold against any sort of crazy pressure that the Thor player is going to throw onto him. But I don't know. Sometimes you can find these little bits of pressure into a Thor base if they just miss one little angle of a wall, one misplaced building. You know, the chickens here, technically speaking, they're out in the open if you can get in. There is a troll waiting there, so we might be able to get a little bit of pressure onto those. The berries are forward, so that's an angle of weakness in the Thor player's base. But realistically speaking, one mistake here, or tiny mistake, which might end up biting Magic in the bum here moving forward, is he went on his bat gold mine first. So there
Yeah.
will he's going to run out of that gold mine in probably about 2 minutes, and Nullus
Yep.
can just hound this forward gold mine nonstop, and Magic might find himself in some trouble.
He does have obviously that Dwarven gold mine, which is an additional 1,000 gold that he can place directly under his town center, which is totally safe. But other than that, you're absolutely right. Magic's kind of putting himself into a position where he may have to fight over his second gold, which really isn't necessary for him at all. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing what Null is doing from here. He's down 4 villagers. Magic's still not getting that dwarven breastplate that he has access to from Frasetti. When he gets that, he'll be down 5 villagers. So there's so much pressure on Nullus here to do something, but I just don't see anything happening really. It's kind of like he's just amassing an army, waiting for a big skirmish to happen. But I worry that about the time when there will be a big fight, Magic will have had that economic lead for so long that, yeah, that Magic's army will simply just be stronger than Loki's.
Yeah, I guess the one angle that Nullus kind of has is playing Loki. Once he gets medium infantry, gets his 2 armory upgrades, copper weapons, copper mail, all of a sudden his army is going to be like actual DPS wise, it will be higher than the Thor players,
Yeah.
but he's going to be behind on population, so he's going to have to take really nice fights and find his way in. But a good raid to come through here for Nullus is Magic not paying attention here. He's going to be losing some dwarves.
It's 1 dwarf down. It's really good. Well, 1 dwarf and some idle time. He'll take that happily.
Yeah.
Good stuff here from Nullus. Down 3 villagers at the moment. Like, if you can get 1 villager here and 1 villager there, it's honestly really good when you're Loki versus Thor. Because also keep in mind, Nullus is hunting on the map and Magic's on berries, as we saw. Berries is only 80% as efficient as hunting is. So even though Magic's up in villagers, him being on berries with that worse gather rate, it does mean that the villager discrepancy doesn't amount to as much as it may appear.
Yeah, and we are seeing. Oh, Nullus not paying attention. You could actually lose a raiding cavalry here. Killing off the house is nice, but you don't want to lose anything for that. And I mean, now we are seeing Nullus going up through Bragi, so we will have a little bit of something here to use in the
Yeah.
next coming minute or so. But would you expect Magic here to just say go through Skadi just for the frost, or does he want to go through Bragi as well?
Yeah, it could be either. He could do either, actually. I think for now, Magic will be perfectly fine just staying in the classical age. One way that you can counter flaming weapons, obviously, with your own flaming weapons or frost, but another is by simply having the higher military count, which I think is what Magic is counting on right now. He's got himself all the upgrades that he needs. He is maybe inching towards getting heroic age himself. But either way, dude, Magic, he's hunting at the moment. He's on that secondary gold. I think Nullus needs to make something happen here. This is a big power spike. There's a big
Yeah,
moment in
things
the game
can.
where Nullus is actually ahead, where he can make something
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. I think things can go very wrong here for both players. We've seen it many times in the Norse mirrors. It's a very volatile matchup. Magic knows that this is a big moment here. He actually brings his villagers early back off of that hunt, and he's just going to go over onto the chickens, and he's going to try and get to the next age. Sit in his base, turtle up, and Nullus going to be poking for just little bits of damage here. I don't know if he's going to be able to get in there. We also see watchtowers pre-queued as a little bit of a deterrent. Skadi now has been the god of choice to come through. And Magic, I love this little move from him. He's got those berserks over there, but Nullus recognizes what's going on, does pull back. His army now looking to get a little bit of damage into the main base, but the
Uh,
heroic age is in. You can just retreat back and you've got yourself access to that dwarven mine. No need to
he doesn't.
force it on this gold mine.
He doesn't want to use it now because he's about to hit heroic. So if you can get that additional 2,000 gold in the dwarven mine, he will happily take that.
Yeah.
So good little move here from Nullus. I wish you kind of would have stayed there, because like it is now. Now is your opening, Nullus. You need to make something happen now. He's like Magic is pulling ahead right here, I think.
Is there like a mythic age angle here for the Loki though? Like, you know, Thor has Tyr, which is obviously always going to be something that hurts the economy, but you know, the Nidhogg comes through from Loki. That could be the next sort of big move that Nullus is going for. If he can't actually go for a big attack now, he just pulls back, says, great, no worries. You have to hold on to Frost. I'll hold on to onto Flaming Weapons, and I'll try and get myself to the Mythic Age, click Nidhogg, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, another huge power spike that maybe Thor doesn't have.
It could be, but just keep in mind, Thor can make Goldie. You do have Magic in the heroic age, but wait, this big fight here. One troll already looking to go down, almost.
Great control from Magic there. He pulls that one back, keeping it alive. There are heavy throwing axemen here, though, for Nullus. These are going to be really, really strong, but as the raiding cavalry come through, he's got to pull out of here, and he's going to be losing a troll, losing another throwing axeman on the way back. The game is still relatively equal here. It's a one villager difference, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that's not really anything to write home about. The military difference slightly in favor of Magic, but you know, resources are in the bank, units are coming out for Nullus. He's going to catch up there as well. I think this game is going to be one of those games that we're going to get past this like volatile moment, and we're going to see some very, very crazy things happening.
Yeah, and this does beg the question: how is Flaming Weapons going to be used here? Because if Nullus just goes in with a big army on, say, Magic's gold mine, with a big army, then that army is just going to get frosted, and that's going to be awful for Nullus. He doesn't want that to happen. What he can do instead is he can split his army, he can go raiding, and then he can have the rest of his army in another spot, and then use Flaming Weapons.
What is this dwarven mine? He's just like, let me just put that out in the middle of nowhere, give you somewhere to raid.
It's a bit.
Sometimes you have to laugh at things like that. Like he wants to put it down in a position where he can immediately move onto it, but
yeah. he saves himself something like 40-50 resources, but then he has to now retreat whenever he's getting raided. So that's really silly from Magic.
Yeah. Now we do have the big advantage right now for Nullus is he has himself heavy cav and heavy infantry. So right now he needs to take a fight.
Yeah, this is looking like it could be a good fight for Nullus. I think Magic will be forced to retreat. He's got his trolls here, so he can't really Flaming Weapons use, and this does open up the possibility for Frost. What do you think?
Okay.
Do you like the Flaming Weapons there? This kind of gave Magic the retreat that he wanted, I think.
Yeah, look, I'm not really sure, to be honest. Like, one thing that I'm not exactly sure just yet, but I know Magic's on bronze armor. Nullus, I don't even know if he's on copper armor at the moment. Can we see the armory for Nullus? Okay, he's got copper. So there is a tiny. Actually, so I don't even think it is an advantage because you've got the what's it called? The bonus damage from Loki. So I think the fight would have actually gone. Yeah, I think that the fight probably would have gone relatively equal there. So in just trading Frost for Flaming Weapons, maybe that's totally fine.
Dude, I like that position for Nullus. I think that was about as good a fight as you could hope for. He had sort of caught one troll off guard, already killed it, and the other two were close to hearses, I believe. And that's such a good position to be in, because if those trolls are in the back, protected by a throwing axeman, then you're gonna have such a hard time killing them. But here's another very interesting looking fight. A lot of throwing axemen getting caught by raiding cavalry here on the side of Magic.
Those trolls to come in, they're driving straight in onto that back line, not quite getting that special to hit all of them at the same time, but still excluding them from the fight from a very, very long time here. The differential in population is about equal, and Nullus during this fight got through his bronze mail, but as his front line falls, he's got to retreat back. There's too many raiding cavalry here. Magic is inching his advantage forward in this game, and he can now think about dropping a town center, getting his hill fort up. He's got the favor for another dwarven mine here, so that's another huge economic advantage for him to grab. Nullus, on the other hand, what's he going to do? Make Herman? That's a good idea.
Yeah, that fight that we just saw, big defender's advantage for Magic. Whenever he replenished units, they were there immediately to assist him. So even though it looked like kind of a close fight, the immediate reinforcement coming in from Magic just won him that fight. And now a new Dwarven Gold Mine.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the Dwarven Mine, when you're using it in the Heroic Age, Classical Age, Mythic Age, it does give you not only more gold inside of the mine, but it also gives you a mining boost. So the dwarves here for Magic are gathering faster right now on that Dwarven Mine than the dwarves would be gathering for Nullus on a regular gold mine. So he does get a fairly hefty advantage there as the dwarves are just doing a sneaky, but Magic will spot that. A huge raid now for Magic. This is absolutely brutal.
That's so brutal. And Nullus does have an army nearby, but it's just not close enough. All Magic needed there was like 5 or 10 seconds alone with these dwarves, and now the damage is dealt. Nullus down to how many dwarves at this stage? Like 10 in total on goal right now. That's not enough. 16 minutes in the Norse Mirror, you need way more than that.
This is going to be very tough. Down 10 villages total.
Yeah.
Economy through the roof for Magic. I'm sure he's thinking about a Mythic Age. I don't know if he's got the hill fort started or not, but his resources are starting to skyrocket. Food through the roof. One huge advantage we talked about earlier on right now is taking effect, is that Magic doesn't need to build farms. He's still eating goats. Nullus, he's already got farms started in the main base.
Oof,
so
yeah.
you're like, all right, what? Well, that's just a huge advantage for Magic.
Yeah, and the Frost Giants are actually soaking up a lot of damage. And not only that, they're also sort of... Magic takes it.
Yeah, that was such a well executed game from Magic. Just from the very get go, he somehow finds the goats. He gets the defense. He doesn't really lose that many villages. A great trade on the Frost and the Flaming Weapons. Just playing it really nice. A fantastic raid. And yeah, Nullus just couldn't find the angle to find any sort of a advantage there.
Yeah, it's the 2 Goldmine Ghosts. Like I think it really favors Thor in the Norse Mirror. But then on top of that, when you secure yourself 20 goats versus 4, hello, Magic is in such a dominant position. And Nullus really needed a miracle. He needed a miraculous raid. He needed a big skirmish one or something, and he just couldn't find it.
Yeah, that's just the way that these things go sometimes with the goats. It is a little bit of a roll of the dice, but if you know the maps really well, you can sort of have the idea of where to go and grab them up nice and early. Now let's use that early game to kind of go and get a spy in the main base of Magic instead of maybe grabbing all the goats. In fact, it seems like it's so important in the Norse Mirror that it might even be worth it to go double berserk here as Loki. What do you think?
No, I like that idea. It's a double gold mine. You have all the food available, especially if you go for the double berserk. So even though you sacrifice your early economy by going double berserk, like like you're saying, it'll pay for itself over time.
Yeah.
And imagine as Loki against Thor who's building his dwarven armory early on. If you just go double berserk and you go on either side of the Thor base, you can secure, basically all the goats on the map if you play it really well.
Yeah, some pretty good fights
Let's
here, though. I
see
maybe
this.
I just maybe just no flaming weapons here from Magic. It was a
Yeah.
great engagement,
Yeah.
and he had defender's advantage as well. That's the fight you kind of want to take in a way. Maybe that was the actual big mistake that Nullus made in this game.
I think so. I'm not even sure he would have won it, but I don't think he could ask for a better fight than that. And now
Yeah.
instead of taking a fight where he has defender's advantage, like you're saying, look at Magic here. It's just getting reinforcements immediately from his base. And there's no way that Nullus can sustain this attack. It's also throwing X-Men hiding behind buildings, making it very difficult to get to them.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Like throwing axemen raiding cavalry. Like you want the raiding cavalry there on your opponent's throwing axemen, right? But then if you do that, then your opponent will be able to do the same to you. So it's like, do you want to just frontline the raiding cavalry? Do you want to frontline or do you want to try and flank with the raiding cavalry onto the throwing axemen? It's kind of a difficult decision to make, Soup.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's like a mirror matchup. They're always sketchy, always difficult to really yeah, know how to approach it properly. But I do think like you got to find your openings, and when you find them, uh, you got to really utilize them. And I think
Yeah,
Nullus
yeah.
mistook this game by using flaming weapons and forcing out that frost. So
Well, it's over. It's 1-0 for Magic now. So we're moving into the next one. It's going to be on Anatolia, the nice hybrid water map. We're going to see Freya. As you say, Frey. Let's go with Frey.
yes,
Frey versus Zeus.
on Anatolia,
What do you
dude.
think
I
on Anatolia?
I
Yeah.
really like this matchup, and I think it's very interesting. I was mentioning
Yep.
yesterday that I think a lot of people will just say, sort of by almost routine, that Zeus is S plus tier on Anatolia. Zeus has got the Scylla, he's got the hoplites. That's all you need when you're playing on a water map, right? But then you see
Yep.
this
Yep.
god Frey, and you see the skill,
Mm.
the options available to him. He can get the dock upgrades almost for free, well, 50% off. That means he can
Yeah.
get the heroic, the anti-myth unit archer boats for cheap. He can get the heavy boats for cheap, and he's got access to that Nidhogg in the Mythic Age. I think Frey is well positioned to beat. Well, I don't know, beat Zeus, but he can definitely go head to head with Zeus here.
I'm with you, Soup. I don't. Well, for one, we have seen some nerfs to the Greek Skylar that make it a little bit more challenging. Well, not even more challenging. It just kind of brings that unit back into line with what some of the other heroic age myth units on the water are doing. So it doesn't feel as like, oh, I just build this unit and I win. But on top of that, while the hoplites are nice, when you've got things like Golem Bursty to defend, you've got Tempest to defend, you've got the Asgardian Bastion to place down so that you can't just do these kind of town center hoplite raids. All of a sudden, you're not looking for that Zeus advantage of just beat your opponent into a bloody pulp. The way to win this one for Zeus is to play a lot more tactically, and try and get to that late game unkillable Greek army. But even when you get to that, then you're asking the question of Frey. He's got his own late game unkillable army, and it's a big fat micro mission and a lot of fun to come.
Well, you're mentioning late game, dude. I don't even think we're gonna get to that stage. This is a game of power spikes. Zeus wants
Yeah.
either the classical age power spike or he wants the fast heroic power spike. Dude, even the hero power spike, there's just steps that you want to take, and then you want to really utilize them. Same with Frey. You want to get to that Tempest, like you mentioned, make a good use of Golden Bursty, and then Nidhogg finally. Go and get into the game, see what it's about.
Yes, we will be doing so. So we are going to be seeing Magic in the bottom. He will be our Frey player, and Nullus at the top will be our Zeus player. And to take a quick look at exactly what's happening here to kick the game off, already it looks like, from what I'm seeing on the minimap, both players going for the same side. Does this mean anything to you, Soup?
Yeah, it's always a bit more of a chaotic game when this happens because both players will be competing over this side, maybe even in the arcade gates. And not only that, especially with Zeus there, you're very likely to see some early hoplites and you can really threaten the docks there. And obviously, when you go to the heroic age, both the Scylla and the Kraken are going to spawn on the same side. So yeah, what this generally says to me, what this tells me is there's going to be more chaos than if it was on both sides or on either side, because then there tends to be a bit of a gentleman's agreement that we'll just fish and we'll call that a day, okay?
Yeah, I wanna bring this up because I think it's really really cool. What Nullus is doing on his dock here is, for those who don't know, the dock is a food drop site, which means the villager here, he can drop food in just like the fishing ship can. So it's a really great way of limiting walking time in the early game for Greek, and it really helps out that Greek the difficulty of the Greek build order. Uh, yeah, and if Nullus is gonna, for the instance where maybe there isn't a dock on the same side, he can then move forward and put a dock forward. On the instance there is a villager there or a dock here for Magic, he can kind of say, no worries, I'll put my second dock behind me later in the game and send a villager down to the bottom. it's just a really, really nice way to just to open for Greek.
Yeah, I love this. I like this a lot. And look at this. Is who's competing for this? It's Nullus being a nuisance here. He can even send one of the other
Yeah.
fishing boats there, but it does look like Magic's getting that. Either way, this is a big win for Nullus. He's going to be able to secure himself 10 fishing boats versus 8. And this kind of puts Magic behind from the get-go. So small victories that you can get with a simple play like that. Very nice to see from Nullus.
Yeah, but Magic is being, this is really risky
Yeah.
here. I've tried this myself, and I've been shanked many times by very angry Greek villagers. So
Let's see the
you
dock
can
actually.
play.
Let's see the shanking maybe occur down the bottom right or in the new dock
It's
in
the
the top
red. The
right.
red dots are coming. The red dots are coming on the very bottom of the map. There. Let's have a quick look at it on top of the map. There you go. There's the shanking. It looks like the dog's gonna get up.
Oh,
Magic close.
that's
Nice timing for Magic. Unlucky for Nullus.
the villager not actually dealing that much damage to the berserk here. So yeah, this is Magic will be very happy about that. Even forcing some idle time on the villager. Magic doesn't care too much that this berserk is half HP. He'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm really liking what Nullus is doing with this forward temple as well. This is going to mean that the Minotaur is going to be in the action, or I assume he's going to go through Athena. He might go through Hermes. Pretty rare to see that on this
It'll
map,
be
but
Athena, trust me.
yeah, Athena is the stock standard, so the Minotaur is going to be right in onto the action to be able to start taking down Magic's docks. And now, I don't know if Magic's built 2 berserks or not out yet. I think he might only have the 1, which does mean he's going to be struggling to get these docks up. And there is a gigantic weakness here to just units being on his side of the fish super early. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Magic can defend or not.
I think Magic, realistically speaking, is gonna need at least 2, definitely 3, and he would love to have 4 docks over on the left side. Right now, he's got just the 1. Because Nullus has got himself the temple there for the Minotaur, like you mentioned. He'll have Jason and Heracles over on the left side really quickly too. And I'm sure that Nullus is going to build a military barracks and he'll be sending hoplites over there as well. And there's Bolt available. I can see Bolt being used maybe on a Herser trying to build a second dock. That would be really brutal for Magic. Yeah. So yeah, very, very.
In a way, I think you're like ideal Bolt for Greek in this matchup is on a rock giant, but if you get to win the water outright, then you're just gonna take that with that early Bolt there.
Yeah, but wait, maybe Nullus should have sent his villager here. Would have been a really good play. Send the villager to take care of the berserk and bolt the Herser otherwise. I think that would have been the play, but easy to say as observers.
He gets his dock up. That's nice. He can come back and put a 3rd dock behind all of this. Nullus is going to try and chase this berserk down. One special ability on that probably would be the end of its life.
Yeah, and that berserk is building a 3rd dock now, and Nullus is kind of allowing it to happen.
Yeah, he's got a barracks up now, or military academy up, so he will get some hoplites. He will be able to put more pressure onto this position, but realistically, you want to try and just deny everything if you can.
Ooh.
A Juggernaut out and a longbow. This is a great little start.
Yeah, good start from both.
Nullus.
Good start from both players. The longbow to take care of the land army, and then Nullus predicting it and countering it with a siege boat. So very nice to see here. With the siege boat there, the hoplite and the Minotaur will be able to go to town because they're taking so much damage. There's a hammer boat too. Magic's doing a good job getting more boats out here in the early game.
Yeah, I think the dock here does end up getting finished up. Great control here from Magic. He's managed to snipe the Juggernaut. But if your longboats get too close to the shore, that Heracles,
yeah,
people talk some mad smack about Heracles, but he does pack a punch when he actually gets onto the unit.
Have you seen that club? It's a big club he's carrying.
It's a big club. It's a big club.
4 hoplites and a Minotaur, 2 heroes. Those stocks aren't gonna last very long here, and I think Magic may have to just sack the left side here, honestly. This is great news for Nullus, because over on the right side, there's going to be even more fighting occurring. And that's kind of Magic now trying to do the same thing that happened to him over on the right side now.
This is always like... It's not exactly what you want to have happen when you're playing against Zeus. You don't want to be trying to trade here. Either you want to get that heroic age in and be ready to just say no worries, have all the water, and we're just going to deal with it with our own like powerful like get our town centers and things like that. Or you want to somehow defend this, because otherwise you're going to get caught out here. I think that at any point here, Nullus can just come back onto this bottom side and drop docks again and make the Skylar. This is going to be very, very dangerous for Magic moving forward.
Yeah, and also just notice Nullus already now building a forward dock on the left side. Really, really well played. That means that he'll be able to secure himself 9 additional fishing spots with docks nearby. And that's definitely the
Yep.
play. When you win one side this early, you gotta utilize on it, and you gotta grab those fishing spots that are now available to you. And Nullus is doing that, and that is going to pay him dividends throughout the game.
One thing that I am liking from Magic is that forward Asgardian Bastion. It secures that town center, and the town center does have a gold mine that's relatively close, which will allow him to use Ghoul and Bursty, Tempest to defend, say, a huge bronze push that's most likely going to be coming from Nullus. So I think this makes a lot of sense here for Magic. I don't think that the loss of this water is a huge deal for the immediate future. But if Nullus can get himself to the heroic gauge, get himself per scene, have all the fishing spots on the top, have some on the bottom, or even all of the fishing spots on the bottom, then all of a sudden Nullus is going to be able to start creeping ahead with tech and military numbers, and maybe it's not even going to matter with a Golem Bursty Tempest. He's just going to be able to flood.
Yeah, well, Magic is stuck in the classical age now. Like, he's on 400 food. He's not looking to go heroic anytime soon, not within the next 30 seconds or so at least. And dude, I don't think that's good for Magic. I think at this stage you really want to be hitting heroic age on a map like Anatolia, so that you can start getting those technologies like you mentioned. And there's a big
The
fight
big
happening here.
important one, he's going for the main base. This is very, very dangerous. Those hoplites are scary. There are a good amount of throwing axe in there, and Magic noticed that and says, okay, let's pull back. But yeah, the big important technology when you're losing water, when you lose water, is Feasts of Renown. It comes from Aegir, and it gives you that 1 food a second on every one of your big buildings, the hill forts, the town centers, and that, while it's not quite, it's not at all going to be able to level the playing field in terms of the food income you get from fish. It does help soften the blow.
Yeah, it does. And remember, this is Anatolia, so he's already got himself that second TC. He's got himself that Asgardian Bastion. That's already 3 food per second if he gets there.
Yeah.
And just spamming out hill forts, never a bad idea on Anatolia, because
No.
securing the middle is so good, such high value. And nice little trade, getting 2 hoplites almost for free there for Magic.
I actually do like what Magic's doing though. Like, he obviously knows that Nullus really, really wants a heroic age, and this means that Nullus isn't going to be spending resources on military units. Nullus is forced to with this. So Magic is, while it's not, I don't know if it's going to quite be able to force Nullus to stay in the classical age, because the food is ticking up. He is going to get some good value here with this attack, and pushing off this gold mine will hurt Nullus a bit. I think Nullus has made the same mistake that Magic made last game in going onto his back gold mine first.
Ah, true. Do you see the danger here for Magic, though? If you look at his army, it's throwing axemen and it's infantry. And the moment Nullus gets to the heroic age, he's going to start spamming out Hypaspists. And he's going to add to the mix maybe just 5 Peltas to take care of the throwing axemen. And then Nullus is going to steamroll Magic. There's no way that the classical Norse army will compete with the even bronze on top of everything, right?
Nullus is going crazy here.
Yeah.
He's just sending his villagers straight in underneath that Asgardian Bastion. He's sending villagers off to the bottom side or the top side of the map as well. A couple of villagers will, without a doubt, go down here. And we do indeed see Aegir coming through for Magic. So we will have an answer to Hypaspis to come through. And that answer is Rock Giants. We can get that taunt in onto the counter infantry units, then all of a sudden the throwing axe can get all the time in the world to snipe them off, and you're kind of good. But there's so many Minotaur here for Nullus. The bronze is going to come through. This is going to hurt Magic quite a lot. And he's not going to want to click Ghoul and Bursty. He might have to just sack maybe the Asgardian Bastion, waiting for Aegir, and then Tempest Ghoul and Bursty in the last moment.
I think that we may be able to see a real fireworks of Ghoulin Burst, the Tempest versus Restoration, Bolt, Bronze, 5 God power simultaneously. And I gotta say, I really favor the Zeus player here. having 4 Minotaurs on the field already, plus
So
the
many.
Hydra and this full population Greek army very, very soon with Restoration and Bronze. Bruh, it's very, very hard to defend, even with Ghoul Bursty
Yeah.
and Tempest. Probably should use Bronze
Yeah.
here, I think.
Yeah, well, there's the Bronze coming through. There's the Tempest. The Ghoul Bursty coming through as those units are getting sent packing. The Restoration going to be preventing that damage from actually having any significant impact. And now Nullus has to retreat back, but he's going to get a couple of units that are frozen here. All the God powers off the table.
Huh.
I don't know who comes out in front right now.
Dude, this is going. For Magic will be very happy with how this turned out. For Bronze and Restoration, it's like the best combination of god powers in Age of Mythology. It used to be Ancestors Eclipse, but nowadays, if you can get Bronze Restoration on an army like this, it's so good. But Nullus doesn't really take much advantage of it. He's just using it to survive the initial impact of Tempest and Ghoul Bursty, and then he uses it to retreat, you know? Magic's now rebuilding his Asgardian Bastion. He's got a Kraken over on the right side. Just need to make use of it, and he'll be able to get maybe even control of the entire right side if he sends his
It looks
military.
like he wants to go to the Mythic Age right now. He's got
Yeah.
He's got the resources for it, no? Oh, he got hit with that bug. This is the first time I've actually seen it in a proper game. If you don't have an Asgardian Bastion in the Heroic Age, you can't go to the Mythic Age.
Oh, interesting.
Even though he's built it in the game already, it just the check happens in the Heroic Age for some reason. So he had to rebuild that one there. So his Mythic Age has been delayed a little bit more than it probably should have then.
Well, that's very dangerous for Nullus. Like Nidhogg on Anatolia against Greek. Greek has only got access to 3 heroes as we speak, and that Nidhogg is gonna be so good against this Zeus army.
But Magic there's a huge timing here for Nullus to hit. Nullus is spamming units. He's not thinking about the next age. He needs some Peltast here to deal with these thrown action. The Toxotes are great. They should win this fight, technically speaking, but the Peltast are the unit that is scary for a Norse player when they're building Throw and Axeman, because it just erases the Throw and Axeman line.
I'm a bit surprised.
Nullus loses.
Yeah, the Peltast is so good. They also take care of Godi, remember? So if you can get Hypaspist, Peltast, and Hydra or whatever, plus the 2 or 3 heroes, there's no way that the Norse player will be able to compete against it. But yeah, Nullus just going for Hoplites Toxotes. I don't know if this is an old Voobly legacy habit of his.
Maybe, maybe, but you also, I mean, you also seeing the berserks coming through. I can kind of see that he's going, well, if I just build Toxotes, at least I counter everything, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the big problem here is that, yeah, this Nidhogg is coming, and how do you deal with it if you're Nullus? So answer number 1 is get your fortresses up on gold mines so that you can garrison villages. Answer 2 is if you can get to Restoration, the Nidhogg flies through, the Restoration holds your army alive while your Toxotes can actually fire back and get some significant damage down. But Nullus is very far away from that 100 favor, and this Nidhogg is in on top of the Toxotes and ready to swoop in here.
What's happening? Oh, didn't get to see the special. Nice little split here from Nullus. Oh, and the Nidhogg's already taking so much damage. Nidhogg not getting the value that he really wanted, but I don't know if Magic even needs all that damage from the Nidhogg. He seems to be well in the driver's seat here. He's getting Feast of Renown. He's getting Salt Amphora plus Champion Infantry as well. He's got so many good things coming in for him.
Yeah, Magic now moving up. He's found the gold of Nullus, and this is often where the game can just go into the unwinnable sort of portions. But Hera is coming through. That's Lightning Storm. That's a big amount of units that could potentially get picked off here. Nullus has got to be careful. He can bring his villagers back. He can wait this out. He's got a little bit of gold in his main base. He's so far behind on villages, though, Soup, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And yeah, so like you're mentioning, Lightning Storm with Hera, it's a big maybe ticket back to the game, but also the Bellerophon going to be huge to have access to. Are we looking, how many hill forts has Magic got on himself now? I think he's doing exactly what you said. Just get Feast of Renown and use that for your food income. Let's get 2 there.
Yeah, you don't realistically with Frey, you don't need to have any villages on gold. Sorry, on food. You can just get 3 town centers, 3 hill forts, 6 hill forts, 10 hill forts, and that's your food income sorted. He does
Yeah.
have all the fishing ships as well, but nonetheless.
New Asgardian Bastion coming in. It's so good when you can just use your favor like this to not only secure parts of the map but to also boost your economy. Yeah, it just feels really good. There's a lot of Hypaspis here for Nullus, and I think that is going to mean a lot in a fight like this.
Yeah, I think Magic has maybe overestimated his position here. He hasn't managed to kill the fortress off.
Yeah.
I think that these units here with the Hydra, he's going to be able to take out that rock giant. And I don't know about you, Soup, but when I play Norse, I always feel like I've got tons of resources. But I'm like, I can't kill this Greek army. This moment is still possibly going to occur. There's going to be fire giants that's going to get taken out by the Bellerophon. There's going to be Peltas to kill off those stone axemen. Aspis to kill everything else off. Lightning Storm to come through as well. I'm not sure where this Lightning Storm's being cast.
Looking
he's
looking like a really good lightning.
So off a bunch of
seems so much value.
Yeah.
This
does buy Nullus some time, but Nullus has there's just no villagers left for him. I don't know if he can get to that point where his army is just good. Like he needs to spend so many resources on technologies to get there.
He's so far from it. He needs okay, in late game you don't always need 100 villagers, but at this stage he needs, like you said, he needs so many more technologies. Optimally he would have 100 vills now, but he's got 38. Magic's got 91. It's such like Nullus will have to win these battles that are coming now so ridiculously hard in order to keep up in economy. Nitok is in a bit of trouble here with Odysseus.
Yeah, Nullus is doing a good job dealing with this. Like he's actually taken it out. He did lose I think he lost a couple of fishing ships on the shore. Magic losing that unit, it's not the end of the world. He's got such a huge advantage. And he's getting all his upgrades in. He's getting all the position. Nullus still has 1 town center. And I guess he's just waiting for him to get himself all of those upgrades. He's not really wanting to take a fight right now, but I think he definitely can.
You think Magic can take a fight?
Yeah, I think he should be taking a fight right now. Look at those fire giants to come through. Those things are disgusting.
There's no Bellerophon out on the field for Nullus, and that's because he's struggling so hard for gold. And yeah, doesn't want to be there anymore. Magic takes it.
And it was a great game played by Magic. I think Nullus, actually, to be honest, I think Nullus was in the driver's seat. He did what he wanted, but he threw the position when he sent those gold villagers to the center of the map.
Yeah, that was so unnecessary.
I don't think he needed. Yeah, he didn't need to. He could have just pulled back, waited for a little bit, and then he would have been totally fine.
Yeah, and then the big moment was, I'm sure we'll see that during the replays, but then the big moment was the 5 god powers used simultaneously, or 4, however many it was. When you use Bronze Restoration to retreat from a battle, that's not a good use of your Zeus powers fighting in the heroic age.
Yeah, you don't want to. I think he was like, he might have used it thinking there was no, maybe the timing was just that tiny bit off. You know, when you use your god power like a second before your opponent hits the heroic age, like there wasn't a reason really to attack there. He could have gone and just secured the rest of the map and just said, no worries, we'll just call it a day. We'll wait it out. You can use Tempest away from a town center, please. So there's no Gullenbursty to have to deal with as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this move here was Nullus. He's already behind on villagers because he doesn't have the town center, and losing this just hurts because he needs all the villagers he can get, and this slows down his mythic age and slows down everything else. He does manage to kill the Asgardian Bastion, but yeah, the bronze hits just as Magic hit the heroic age there.
And I think that shockwave, that the initial burst of the Gullenbursty is divine damage, so having bronze does not help you there at all. And see,
Thracian kind of counteracted that damage, so to speak, but the displacement of the army, that's why all those units on the back fell, because they were all displaced and couldn't get out of there.
Either way, if you ask me, this is where Nullus really started to fall behind. When you don't get the value from the Bronze Restoration versus Norse, you're in a rough spot. And here, Nullus, he's trying his best to make something happen. This is where Magic is going up through hell, so he's taking the nice fight here. He's using Bolt on a Rock Giant. No Peltas to take care of the backline. A bit underwhelming, the Toxote damage here, unfortunately.
Yeah, right here he actually probably should have just pulled the he does do it, but maybe a little bit too late. You have to pull those infantry away. You don't want them to be close to the thrown axeman. I've done it many times and I'm slowly starting to work out that, you know what, thrown axemen, they do some damage. So let's keep our infantry away from them if at all possible.
Some
But yeah, if you get caught out, you just lose them all.
Yeah, something about the heavy throwing X-Men just seems so much more menacing than the medium throwing X-Men.
Mm,
The
for
silver
sure.
armor.
Yeah, that's right. It's literally just the color. The color just puts fear into your eyes.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
then I
now
guess the final nail in the coffin in this game, right, was Lightning Storm not really getting that like erase of an army that like you sometimes see.
yeah, the thing about Lightning Storm is if you're in a dominant position, then you can make Lightning Storm do so much work. You can hit your opponent's army, hit their villagers simultaneously, and maybe even, yeah, well, that's optimal use. But if you're on your back foot, you're forced to use Lightning Storm something like here, a bit out in the open, giving Magic enough time to retreat with his army, maybe garrison his villagers or pull them away from the point of impact. So yeah, you see here, like Magic is just he doesn't have to do much. He's got such a sick economy at this stage, more than
Yeah.
2,000 food and gold, so he'll easily replenish his army here.
Yeah. When you've got 4,000 resources in the bank, you know you're in a pretty good spot in a game. But so we're going to be moving into the next game. It looks like Alfheim is going to be the pick. And Magic, he's been pretty consistent throughout the tournament so far that I've seen him play. He sees Alfheim, he picks Kronos. What do you
Dude,
think about this?
so I'm excited to see this matchup. These are probably my two most played gods in the last many months. Like I love playing Kronos, I love playing Hades,
Yeah.
and from my experience, I will say that this is probably Kronos' favored. I always struggle when I play Hades versus someone like Chemo who plays a 2 town center Kronos extremely well. I have come up with some gameplay solutions that can really threaten an Atlantean player. You gotta think outside of the box. I don't think you can just go for a straight Athena 2 TC boom and then hope for the best. I think if you do that, then Kronos is going to outboom you, and he's going to come up with some really good stuff.
Yeah, you got to
So
keep those strategies to yourself, Soup. We got to see you executing them and taking the dubs.
come watch
But
my stream.
yeah, we did actually see one. We're actually going to be jumping into it, so I don't think we're going to be able to talk. Well, let's discuss it during the game here because we've got on the right hand corner of the map, we've got Magic playing Kronos, and on the left hand corner of the map, we're going to be seeing that Hades from Nullus. Uh, I do want to. I'm just like a little kid in a candy shop because I just get to chat with you for the next I don't know how many hours watching Age of Mythology games in your brain. Uh, um, I watched one game in this tournament, and I believe it was. I want to say I might get the players wrong, so forgive me. I think it was Mosca against. No, it was El Matador against Eric, and it was a similar matchup. It was Zeus versus no, yes, it was Zeus versus Kronos. And what El Matador did was he sort of mind gamed Eric into thinking that it's not going to be a far second town center. It's going to be this aggressive sort of Zeus, and then he went into like quick 3 town centers and sort of prevented the line of sight from coming through. Is that an option there for Hades at all, or is this something that is only going to be really accessed for one of those powerhouse like aggressive gods like Zeus?
Yeah, so someone like if you're playing Zeus, this will definitely be easier to fake than if you're playing Hades, because with Zeus, you've got access to Bolt. It's not the greatest versus early Atlantean, but you've got access to that. You've got the superior hoplites, more mobility, and the damage against buildings. Whereas if you're playing Hades, you've got, Sentinels. You don't have any particular bonuses for your hoplites. So faking it like that with Athena, I don't think it's going to be as much of an option. Instead, what you could do is go for Ares and you can do some early shenanigans with the 2 heroes and the Cyclops, and then you can even use an early Pestilence as well to really throw off your opponent. And what you do behind that is honestly up to you. You can go heroic with Underworld Passage, you can do, like you mentioned, 3 TC Boom, or you can even just stay in classical and go for Hypaspists with that sort of Deimos
Ooh.
and add
Ooh.
to them the Hibius. It's a very, very good
Technologies we've
combo.
never seen before. You're not allowed to use that technology, okay, Soup?
I think versus Atlantean, it's one you really gotta consider, because what do you do? Imagine you're Atlantean and your opponent
Mm,
is building 50% Hypaspist, 50% Hibius, and then he's adding heroes and Cyclops to the mix. What do you do?
yep. Well, I guess what we're going to do is we're going to build mass automaton Soup because we're seeing Leto of all
Damn, I
gods.
didn't.
Normally we see Prometheus here for Kronos, right?
Yeah, yeah, dude.
What
I
does
never.
Leto got?
I don't think I never expected this. Well, Lido has obviously the Automata, which only costs 6 favor. So we might see Magic going for some form of automaton spam.
Mm,
There's also access to that technology. I forgot what the name of it is, but it basically gives minus 15% pierce vulnerability to every single unit, including the automata. And versus Hades, who generally tends to often rely on Toxotes, it's going to be a nice little technology to have, right?
yeah, I think so. And the other thing, I guess, is with these myth units, they've got really high pierce armor. They heal themselves, so I don't care so much about running through this main base of Hades. I don't care at all. I'm just gonna
Nope.
come poke you down, and then I'll run away, and then I'll heal myself back up, and then I'll go back in, and then we'll keep repeating, rinse and repeat, no problems.
Yeah, and like the automata are taking some damage here, but at the same time they're forcing idle time on 5-6 villagers here. Ajax is now in. He deals very little damage in the KA gauge, but he's in nevertheless, and he will be able to repent this attack.
Yeah, no, the Ajax, he's a speedy boy, but I could be wrong. I think the Automaton have got 4.5 speed, so they should be able to get away from there. As Magic gets an extra one into the main base, getting even more idle time caused. So after all is said and done, I think he gets what he wants out of this early game. He's also dropped a town center, so he is going for that second town center on the back here, and then the game starts to go on from here. But the big problem that I think Nullus is going to have to figure out how to deal with is mass automaton with 2 heroes, 3 heroes. It's going to be difficult. I think Nullus might even have to start thinking about how he's going to get to the Mythic Age, which sounds a little bit crazy when you're playing against Kronos, but how you can get to the Mythic Age and get out Perseus to deal with these mass automaton. Maybe I'm crazy though.
Dude, I don't even think it's necessarily automaton spam in for Magic. I think, like you said, he dealt so much damage. He got his 2 automata for free, and he built a third one himself for cheap. 6 favor, 90
Yep.
gold, I believe is the cost. And he dealt so much damage with them. He forced Nullus to have a lot of idle time. He forced Nullus to miss macro a bit. Like, I don't even know what Nullus was going for, but you see right now, it's a 5 minute and 30-second town center. This is
Yeah.
because of the early damage from the automata that this is so delayed.
Yeah, very, very late. But when you go for a second town center, a quick one, as a Kronos, that allows the player who goes for the later town center to actually just take their pick of the map. And this town center that Nullus grabs, there's deer on the front, there's deer on the back. If he comes in and just pushes those close to his town center, he's going to have a lot of very, very easy to hunt food,
Yeah.
but no sentinels here, so he's a little bit of a dangerous position, and you might find yourself getting beaten up by a very powerful rear sort of timing attack.
I think actually now that you mention it, I think Null should start praying so that he can have a second sentinel on his forward town center, because it's such massive value to have that extra line of
When you
sight.
said when you said praying, I was like, hang on, in the literal sense? No.
No. Pray at his temple with his villagers.
Yep. Yep.
Like here, can you imagine just the sentinels, how much value that would give him?
Yeah, for sure.
Bit greedy going
Sure.
for the forward hunt here.
Yeah, there's he didn't need to put a granary up at all. He could have just sent a village, like his villagers, and then shot them back close to the town center. It's
True.
one of the most important parts of two town center play to kind of like if you got an almost amazing town center. You do this thing, and now it just becomes like, well, now I can't do anything. He's got food underneath this town center,
Yeah, yeah.
but he doesn't. I think Magic actually didn't kill off all of the deer there, which may be a little bit of a mistake.
He killed off some of them.
Yeah, he's
But
being kind.
what you mentioned about Magic's second TC, it's actually really, really bad, like you said. And right now he's got 2 farms set up. He's going to set up multiple farms soon enough. And he's going to delay his heroic age timing by quite a bit. Nullus is going to be able to hunt. He's going to be able to go to berries. He's still got plenty of cows. And I think that's a really good sign for Nullus here. He'll be going into the mid to late game a lot more smoothly due to having access to so much food.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little surprised from like what Magic's doing. Like, why go for farms? You can come up to the top. Maybe it's dangerous. But there's food up the top of the map. It's not that far from the town center. I guess Magic is just like I'm gonna take my advantage of the faster town center. I'm gonna invest into, like, I guess, villager security, so to speak, so that he's never gonna get raided. And he's just gonna say, well, that was my advantage, and I'm just gonna now look for trying to poke and prod you and get you out of position to some degree.
I think you're right. Once again, observers, we have omniscience. It's very easy for us to say. But if you look at that top corner, there's 3 gold mines and there's plenty of food. All you need to invest into is something like 30 gold's worth of walls, and you can secure all of that for yourself. We do see Magic making his move up there now, so we'll see if he gets the walls down. It's such a nice, secure area with so many resources there. Nice
Snipe on the villager. Yeah, it is. There is like this still the tiniest bit of legacy bias, so to speak. You know, Age of Mythology, the Titans, the citizens with 3 population, and you didn't need walls because you could just build a manor and it was totally fine. But now 2 population citizen, and we are seeing Magic dropping those walls, so he is well and truly adapted, and he's going to be completely fine in that top position. Now, I guess the other thing that's a little bit scary, Soup, would be if Magic can't get access to this forward town center at some point in this game, then all of a sudden Nullus is going to have full access to that top side of the map. Even with the walls, he's just going to break them down. He's going to be able to get a huge gold star going. There is rarely you see on Alpha, and there's like serious gold star potential, but in this one, you control the middle of the map, you control everything.
Well, you do see there's a gold mine over by Nullus, the second TC. He's got a Nullus on the top side of his home TC. So you're talking like mid to late game at this stage.
Yeah. Mid to late game. The lose condition, so to speak, for the Cronus is if you don't get that map control and start pushing forward, I guess.
Yeah. Also keep in mind, Nullus is playing Hades, so he's got the Vault of Erebus. So realistically speaking, Hades, all you need is really 2 large gold mines. But once again, Magic doing a lot of damage. He's getting the snipe off here. He's gotten the better boom off. So even though not much has happened this game, all in all, I do think Magic is pulling ahead. We do see Rhea coming in very shortly for Magic as well.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised to see Rhea coming in. Like we've been seeing Hyperion after Hyperion after Hyperion, but this god is really, really strong now. You get the double behemoths, which are actually quite useful. You get the Murmillo or infantry technology as well, with Mail of Orichalco, so they're really strong. And yeah, there's a lot of really good options here for Magic to build a really powerful army.
Yeah, dude. I think the double behemoths, plus we do see a 3rd one being produced already from Magic. It just represents such a cool power spike that you can really throw off even like a Hades player off guard. Because when you're playing Hades, you're thinking to yourself, I'm walled up, I've got my town center, I've got my Toxotes. But then all of a sudden there's 3 giant dinosaurs poking at your base, and you don't have the defense to defend against this.
We are seeing Apollo coming through, which means there's no Aphrodite to hold. And the big thing here that Nullus is missing, he does get the Sentinels down. The big thing that Nullus is missing is those archers. He's now making some Toxotes, but what he needs, like in the last game, is Peltast.
Yeah, probably right. We'll see if he gets them when he gets Apollo here. Also, maybe a 2nd Manticore would be huge for defense. He's not quite there in terms of favor, but something to keep in mind. Although, dude, Trader is available against the Manticore. If he manages
Yeah.
to snatch the Manticore before it uses its special attack, he will be. Then it's going to Magic who's going to be able to use it, and he can use it on either the hoplites who are massed, or he can use it on a mass of archers. Insofar as Nullus decides to get a mass of archers.
Yeah, and we see the restoration coming through. I would actually almost consider just deleting my Manticore here as it's running in. I'm sure Magic's got his eyes on that.
Yeah,
Trader
yeah.
to come through immediately, and there goes that special huge damage onto the hoplite. Says Magic does just pull back. His arcs are going to be really helpful here with the front line of behemoths, but those heroes are actually doing really, really well here soon.
The issue with these behemoths is they're slow as hell. And when you hit the behemoths from behind, they take a lot of damage. They kind of rely on that armor they have where when units hit them from the front, they barely take any damage. But once they hit them from behind, not only are they slow as hell to get out of there, they also take, a lot of damage. And we saw that there, 3 behemoths going down very, very easily. And Magic's building 2 new ones. Hello.
Yeah, he's really enjoying these. He's not really going to be building any units, any melee units yet. He does pre-queue Mail of Orichalcos. He does get himself the medium infantry technology as well. But the thing is here is like, what is your army composition actually going to be looking like here? One thing that's always been powerful for the Atlanteans against Greeks, against Egyptians, and against the Atlanteans as well is Destroyer Arcus. I wonder if that's what he's actually thinking about. He's building some Mamillo, but he wants to go for Destroyer Arcus. He's got to get a hefty amount of palace through to start building them.
I don't think you can do that versus Greeks nowadays because Greeks has got access to Peltasts and Hypaspists. And the pure counter units are just so much better than they were in Legacy. I think that's the reason why we don't see Arcus Destroyers as much. It's because both of those units have really heavy counters, and a well-microed opponent is going to be able to take advantage of that. And once again, dude, 3 behemoths. This is an Arcus Behemoth combination of units. Very rare that we get to see that, but the bonus 5... Wait, how much is it? 20 range on the Arcus is actually really paying off for Magic here.
Yeah, he's got that ability to sort of space the enemy army, and Magic's got the control to do that really really well. This behemoth thing here is so interesting to me because it's like, it's literally just, the idea is that's his front line. He's now making some counter units, or not counter units, some front line with Murmillos, I should say. And he's making some Caraballister as well. But the front line of the behemoth, these things, they do actually pack a punch. If you put them onto like some Peltast to start getting damage done, they actually have quite a bit of hack damage.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I think for Nullus, what is he sitting at now? 8 Peltasts? Not quite enough. If he gets to even just 16, it's gonna be very difficult for Magic because, like you said, he's building Caraballists as well. Those are also getting hard countered by Peltasts.
Yeah. I mean, what's the unit that you're gonna need to build to beat those Peltasts then? As we see in Underworld, we're not going to be talking about this anymore. It's Underworld to come through. Nullus is ready to get in onto this back gold mine and start causing some serious pressure onto Magic. I think this is maybe in the wrong spot. He should be up at the top side of the map to kind of block those top 3 gold mines, but nonetheless, getting some good damage done. There's another trader onto that Manticore at the top.
I think we just missed it, but once again, like, you trader the Manticore, it's right on top of those Peltasts, you use that special attack, and then you get the hell out of there. It's looking very, very good here. And now I think this combination of units is working out for Magic here. It's got the Behemoths, like you said, tanking in front, and then just a big Archibald in the back.
These Petropolis also in. This is kind of wild. He hasn't been able to get any like decent position there. He didn't have time to set up any walls, and that both Petropolis ended up falling to the Behemoth. The Behemoth also going down very quickly as Nullus, he's playing around that directional plating of the Behemoth beautifully by attacking at the backside. He gets max damage from the Achilles.
Yeah, and Nullus is kind of looking all right here. He's got some Peltasts remaining here. I think Magic's done a good job of actually sniping them with Arcus, but so many hoplites remaining. These are Athena hoplites with the Aegis shield. They have the heavy infantry upgrade as well. And Atlas is coming in for Magic, though. Yeah. It's looking good for Nullus. But
Atlas on the way will mean that these units can get deleted. Correct me if I'm wrong, but implode prevents garrisoning. I could be getting confused
No,
with
you're
other
right.
god powers.
You're right.
So
You can't,
you're not able to run away from it through the underworld.
I don't think it prevents garrisoning, but if you do garrison into a fortress, they're just going to get sucked out again.
True.
But with the
Something else. I know there's some god power that prevents garrisoning. Might be one of the Chinese ones. But anyways, Magic
you're not going to
drop that.
Point
thing.
is, you cannot retreat through the underworld passage. That's just, you cannot do that during implode.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nullus still trying to hit this position here. Implode obviously going to get a huge amount of value. There he goes. Going to take down all those Peltas and the villagers there as well.
And that, yeah, he cannot use the underworld passage. That's such a good move here for Magic. And Nullus has no time to react. He's almost losing that underworld passage. Sure, he can use it if the Argus just micros.
Turn the Argus to smack it.
Disaster for Nullus.
The population for might seem like it. Nullus is still in the lead on population here for the time being.
Oh, yeah.
He's got himself his entirety of the map set up. I don't think he needs to finish the game right now. He just needs to get back to full population, get to that huge Greek power army, and just keep doing what Nullus does best, which is just defend and make really good decisions.
True. I think I saw. Yeah, he's queued up one Pedropolis, and he's already got 2 out at the moment. And like you said, he's got the military advantage on top of it. He's now sieging down the forward town center instead. So okay, he gets repealed from the one place, and now he's just attacking on another. This is like relentless from Nullus.
Yeah, well, the Argus to start pushing. You got to be careful. You can't sit on that goop there. The damage is gigantic when it pops. You also see another trader. I imagine that was on a Petropolis, is my guess. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
there
it was.
is.
Good micro targeting the Petropolis onto the other Petropolis of Nullus, and now Nullus has lost 2 in the process.
But Nullus's population is still standing pretty solid at the 170 here. He's getting his units out. He's going to be able to clean up this other Argus with his Ajax. Maybe not quite completely, but get a huge amount of damage done before he gets sniped down. And the walls to get set up. We already mentioned it, but if this town center in the middle of the map falls, Magic's position does start to get very, very difficult to defend.
Yeah, and Magic seemingly did a good job with that implode, but right now he's just not finding the resources to get a population advantage over Nullus. It seems like he just doesn't have the military numbers that Nullus got. The Peltasts are killing the Arcus, the Mamillos are not finding their targets.
He needs, like, I don't know, he needs some sort of a unit here. My guess is he needs Contarius to start to actually break through this. Like, get the Contarius. The Contarius are going to be able to counter the Pacifist and the Peltast and the Toxotes. Obviously, Hoplites are going to be an option to come through. But Magic can't even get to population here. His economy, while he's at 100 villages, is looking really, really lackluster.
Yep. I think one thing, and I'm not sure if this is true because I'm theorizing a bit here, but I think one thing that Kronos can do in the late game that requires a lot of economy, though, is to have a palace unit composition consisting of Fanatics, Destroyers, and then probably Arcus in the back. It's an extremely expensive army composition to set up because you need a lot of palaces, you need a lot of upgrades. But I think if you do establish it, I think it can maybe compete with this type of army that we're seeing here.
Yeah, those palace armies. I mean, you're right. Late game, if you can get there, especially, or not, maybe not with Leto because you don't have that super economy, but the town center, not to get into it too much, the town center falling here.
Oh, yeah.
This is really, really bad news for Magic. He's got this score lead, but I don't know why at this point because Nullus, it seems like he's just winning all of these fights. He's got his 3rd town center up. He's the one on the attack. He's getting all of his economic upgrades. I'm not sure where Magic's sitting economic upgrade-wise, but it feels like he's not even close to like fully upgraded economy, and he can't compete with this army of Nullus at the moment.
Yeah, there's so many Peltas here right now. one could even argue a bit one too many pelters, but it doesn't matter. Like the being able to target down the Arcus in the back here, that's all that Nullus really cares about. And you see Magic's army, it's like 90% Arcus, right? So why not have a lot of pelters? Resto for good measure.
Yeah, he just says, "Hello, I have extreme amounts of economy,
Yeah.
and you don't." That's what that was. It was just
Yeah.
like, Magic, come on, let's see what happens here.
Magic's ahead in score, and the unwritten rule is you cannot resign a game if you're ahead in score, so that may be what we're waiting for here.
Yeah, the other thing that's really, really scary when you're in this position as the Chronos player, you're saying it's bad to have this many Peltas, but when Artemis comes through and it's now pre-queued and you get Shafts of Plague, all of a sudden those Peltas start killing things that they maybe feel like they shouldn't be killing. You get that bonus, that poison damage, getting I think it's 1.5 divine damage per attack over a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's
So,
over 6
yeah,
seconds, but yeah, it does add
yeah.
up to 1.5, yeah.
You get a lot of firepower when you get there, and Artemis is going to be on the way. That's a beautiful there. Sentinels to come through, and an earthquake on the main base of Magic. That's going to be very, very painful.
Oh yeah, it is. Deconstruct used just to take down this fortress, but it's just going to be rebuilt. Magic does not have the military presence to stop it from being rebuilt.
I mean, well, the one saving grace right now is that Magic does have himself fortified town centers. Nullus doesn't. So population-wise, Magic is actually in front in terms of max pop. But even if he gets to max pop here, I don't even see how he beats this army. Pure Peltas versus pure Arcus, it's not gonna break. And we're starting to see a transition into Contarius.
Oh, really? Are we? Heavy Contarius being researched. The thing is, you know, he's paying 600 for a heavy Wait, is it how much? 450 for heavy Contarius, and then 900 for champion Contarius if he wants to. It's an expensive transition that he's making here. And even if he gets there, you know, Nullus, he's got the perfect counter. Just makes hoplites. And even Toxotes in the back.
And he's already got them queued up. Like he doesn't even think. That's just second nature. Oh, you're building cavalry, no worries.
Yeah.
We got the answer.
Yeah.
But like Magic has to try something, right?
Yeah, for sure. Also, the mobility of Contarius who knows? There's so many walls for Nullus. He's playing the Elfheim game very beautifully here. So the mobility of Contarius is not going to be of much use, unfortunately, for Magic.
It's vintage Nullus. He's always been like known for this. Like he's fundamentally speaking is one of the best to ever do it.
It's like you and I, we both know building walls is good. Making side builds, that's good. But Nullus, he just does it, and while he does it, he macros perfectly, and he's fighting all the fights well, and he's microing all of it. It's very impressive to see.
I think Magic does luck out a little bit with that Earthquake. I don't know if you agree or not, but doesn't really kill any houses. Maybe he did, actually. Maybe I'm wrong. He dropped down to 145 pop. Okay, maybe it was a great Earthquake. I take it all back.
Well, Nullus did use it on the second TC rather than the home TC, so, you know. It's still a good town center. He's forcing idle time on these farmers. He's obviously killed a bunch of buildings in the process, and it's not even like Nullus needs the power spike from the Earthquake. He'll take anything, and yeah, sure. It's just going to make it that much easier for him.
I also onto the Chimera, but those Peltas have got their poison arrows already, so if that Chimera goes down...
Did you see that? The Chimera used a special attack, and then it got tradered, and it used a special attack again. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so it's basically just resets the unit.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Now
So you don't even have...
Soup's brain getting even bigger than it already is.
So you don't even have to trade the unit before it uses its special. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Well, I'm not really sure what other angle Magic has here. Realistically here, Nullus, if he just walks to the south of the map, that's the final little bit of gold which Magic has. He's got 1,000 in the bank right now. He's trying to get out champion Contarius, but you know, at a certain point, if the numbers are there, it doesn't matter if you've got the counter unit. Like,
no,
there's 118 pop, which is probably going to be something like 70, 80 pop max of Contarius. It's just not going to be able to break through these arches.
And look at Nollus's Q. It's literally just hoplites and Helepolis.
Yeah, we don't really normally see those siege units all too often, but when you're this far in front, it's good to just break through the buildings and then force your opponent out of the game. Magic does tap out. Nullus is on the board. Nullus not going away without a fight here. I mean, we always know his Hades is so good. We didn't really get into it, but he made a name for himself in Legacy for just being this unkillable Hades, and he showed why that is in this game.
Yeah, and he did it actually with pretty standard Athena things in the beginning, and then the big play was the Underworld actually.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it was a perfect Underworld, but he just made it work so well.
Yeah, it definitely didn't look like it was a perfect underworld. It seemed like Magic was breaking through there and winning. I don't know if maybe there was like a miss micro moment, or maybe Nullus did something really tricky there, but it just seemed to just flip in a moment. And I think maybe it was. I hate to say it. I think maybe Magic just going to the Mythic Age was the problem there. He lost his tempo, and he didn't have the units to be able to produce to beat that underworld. So Nullus just found a timing out of nowhere.
Yeah, it could be. Like when you rely on that Mythic Age power spike with that God power, you tend to just fall back for a bit until you hit it. And then during that process, Nolus was walling up the map. He was building more production buildings. He was just setting himself up for a good old spam war, which when you are online as Hades, you are inevitably going to win that against Kronos.
That's exactly that's exactly right. I mean, I was a little bit surprised we didn't really see this moment. This is the big moment here where you're
Yeah.
like, wow, Magic, he's in the driver's seat. He's got everything he needs. He charges forward with the Behemoth going after the town center. The Behemoth kind of struggling to find their
Oh,
pathfinder to get
see how
onto the.
fast they go down.
Yeah,
That's the
and especially when you're running away, because
yeah.
their special ability, if they're facing the right direction, they got extra armor. But yeah, they're on the retreat path. They are paper.
These behemoths, they're so hit or miss. If you do win the fight, and if you are able to siege your buildings down, they're doing such a good job. But once things turn sour, once you're beginning to lose, you lose hard because those things will not be able to retreat, and you're pretty much just left having to sacrifice them anytime you lose military
Mm.
presence over an area.
Yeah, I almost think that this is just like I mean, you're not wasting as many or not spending as many resources as you think when you're building Behemoth, because as Cronus, you're getting like 20% of it back. But even then, that's still a hefty amount of resources going into Behemoth that realistically didn't get the value. Maybe a different angle here for Magic was, get the third town center up a little quicker, or maybe drop down a handful of Palace, and maybe play a little bit more for that late game comp you were talking about, destroy Fanatics and some Arcus as well, or just securing the map and all those sort of stock standard things you can do, and then start pressuring with like the superior economy. But this is the big fight that was a little bit wild. Like you looked at it and you're like, this is kind of looking good for Magic. It's looking wait, where's Magic's army? It's not here. Oh, he's going Mythic Age and he's getting heavy infantry. And all of a
Ah,
sudden, Nullus is just like, I've got all my dudes here and I'm gonna win.
yeah. Yeah, and the behemoth are just going down so hard. Even though Nol's only had two heroes there, he's just taking care of the behemoth so quickly. And while that's happening, the Pelters are going to town on the back line. The hoplites are tanking up a ton, and then the implode hits right here. That was such a good implode, actually, hitting
Yeah,
villagers, hitting the
yeah.
foundation of the fortress, hitting almost the entirety of Nol's army.
Yeah, it's almost like the damage which Nullus did was like counteracted. But that just means that now Nullus has got a Mythic Age power spike as well that he's gonna get a little bit later.
Yeah,
If that makes any
yeah.
sense. Like it's like, yeah.
Well, that's the power of Underworld too. You're
Yeah.
forcing your opponent to sort of move their army behind, and that when you're playing Hades, that just gives you time to take over control of the map, wall off the other sides, gain control of your town centers, and just get to the point where you want to be with Hades.
Yes, indeed. Well, our next map is going to be coming through here, Soup. It's going to be on the map Step. And we're going to actually do a little bit of a show here as wow! A certain Mosca playing out of his mind here
What
takes
in the
out
world?
Dunison 3-0.
Mosca taking down Tiger Boss 2-0, taking down Tunis in 3-0. I did not have this on my bingo board. Did you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did. I got the screenshot proof and everything. I'm
What,
gonna take
really?
this one. Yep. I
Okay.
didn't I didn't call it 3-0, but I did think that Moscow had the advantage in this one. I think
It's
Moscow's
interesting.
had a really, really tough draw, and he I think he's a really powerful. He lost to Chemo. He almost beat Chemo, and
Yeah,
and
that's
and
true.
yeah, he just had a really tough draw. I mean, obviously Tunison also had to play Mister, so
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Mister did also, and he did to get a win against Mister. So Tunison obviously really, really powerful, but there you go,
Three
Moscow
sip.
the king.
Dude, whenever Mosca plays ladder, he seems to be playing Poseidon 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
So I instinctively just thought Mosca, super solid player, has the ability to get to a top 16 in a tournament just because he's so good at the game. But more so than that, he's not going to be able to compete with players like Tunison because he's a Poseidon one-trick pony. But clearly I'm wrong. Clearly
He's
Mosca
not.
is a beast.
Nope. He plays them all. He's got a deep god pool that he has not shown anyone. But let's talk about this game. I wanna go. I'll watch that series in my own time. I'm very excited. That's going to be a fun one. Set versus Odin on step here. So very, very open map. Set's got access to the Wadgets, which we've seen Mister use. He's got access to the Anubites, which we've seen Chemo use. What has Odin got here?
Odin's got Raiding Cavalry, he's got Thundering Hooves, and he's got
Yeah.
Valkyries. I think that's what he's going to be banking on. But we'll get into this when we see the map. There is, I do think this game, it often looks like it's going to be a raiding game because it's such a wide open map. But in reality, that the way that this game is being played out, oftentimes is just about that secondary gold because it's so exposed and it's so hard to get to. And when you got a Set versus Norse matchup, Nullus is going to have a hell of a time trying to secure that second gold mine.
Well, we're going to be finding out momentarily here as we get into game number 4. Now, let's just tournament life on the line here. Can he figure it out as we are jumping in? And Magic here, the Set on the left-hand corner in the blue color, and Nullus, the Odin, on the right-hand side of the map.
Can you just look at Nullus' gold mines for a second? His first one, very, very safe and secure, especially if he gets the tower upgrade. But where does he go from there?
North.
He goes
Gotta go
north.
north. There's no
But
other way. There's no other place to go.
if not north, then what? There's absolutely nothing. So if you're Magic, and obviously he's playing Set, he's got access to vision, he's got access to a bunch of animals for scouting, so he'll be able to get a really nice overview of the map relatively early in the game. You're a Set player, Boyd. Tell me, what do you do if you see a map like this?
Well, this map is there's two things I'm scared of when I'm playing against Odin. We've talked about it actually between ourselves quite a bit. I'm scared of a quick second Valkyrie, as said. I really am, because one Pharaoh, one priest, that's not enough to defend against all that stuff. My Nubites start to become useless at the very start of the game against that. So just because of that fact, I want to just put the Anubite to the side because I'm scared. I'm not able to do it. Maybe Magic can, but I'm not able to make that work. The Wadgets, on the other hand, the big death ball and just sit there on one gold mine having shifting sands. Dude, one town center, full send here onto that position. That's going to be tough here for Nullus to hold. He's going to have to get a really, really good fight, a really great engagement, and catch Magic out.
Yeah, and the fact that Step is such a wide open map, it does mean that during the time from when Nullus hits Classical Age to the time where he has to go for that second gold mine, there's a lot of openings for Nullus to either get some really good raids off, to win some small battles, some small skirmishes here and there. And he definitely needs to get that going, because if nothing happens for the first 11 minutes and then we have Nullus moving up north for that secondary gold, I think if nothing has happened before that time, then the Magic army of what you said, Deathball with Wadgets and just a bunch of barracks units, doesn't even matter which. It's just going to be too hard for Odin to deal with.
It kind of doesn't matter what he builds. It does. It really does. But it's all about positioning, right? Like
Yeah.
if you and when you've only got one position to really think about, all of a sudden it doesn't matter about position because you just put the units there and you just take your hands off the keyboard
Yep.
and let the game kind of carry you to victory there. Um, that being said, like what other little tricks here can Nullus potentially do? Is there anything that you've come up with that you think that Odin can maybe do to maybe find a little cheeky advantage here? A little forest fire here, a little Valkyrie maneuver over there, maybe like a frost or something, a Njord. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so what you mentioned, double Valk in the early game, just for early pressure and to maybe find a villager pick here or there would be really good. What he needs then is just, I would honestly go pure raiding cavalry in the beginning just to see if I can get some value with those. And then I would go from there and transition over into throwing axemen because he's going to need those units too.
Yeah,
And then what you said about Frost, maybe Frost is actually what he needs because Magic will place his entire army up in the north there. And then if you use Frost on half the army, and then you utilize your big army to attack the non-frosted units, I can maybe see Nullus actually winning the big fight then and there. And that's kind of
yeah.
what he needs to secure that gold up on the top. It's gonna be rough, but maybe Frost is what's gonna do it.
There is we're talking about, well, how do you get the extra Valkyrie? How do you get this stuff going? There's some little tricks here for Norse, which if you're not aware of, you're just not going to realize you can do this. So one thing you can do is immediately once you hit the classical age, or even beforehand, start attacking hunt on the map. Each one of these Hersa is going to get a huge amount of favor to give you resources. Another way you get, holy, that's a lot of goats. Another way
Yeah.
you can get favor nice and early is you can kill your chickens off. You can kill your goats off. You can go and yeah. There's a couple of different ways to like kind of just get that stuff going. We're not seeing that from Nullus. He's just making Hersa, and maybe wow, he just doesn't get any goats at all. This is not ideal at all for Nullus. I think he's
There's a
found
lot of
himself. This is similar to the Ghostlight game. He's really dug himself a hole already.
I don't think it's as bad on this map as the other because we do see two nice packs of deer in front of Null's base. Unfortunately, he did get his boars stolen by the priest, but still, he's got even a second Great Hunt available if he wants to. But if not that, he's got two big chunks of deer in front of his base, so he will be able to get the food that he needs before he has to go for that big second gold mine. I don't think all of this food inside of Magic Space is going to be that important actually here.
No. It's more that it's just Nullus doesn't have any, right? That's
Yeah.
more the problem because he's going to be stuck in his main base. Plus, we haven't talked about it, but half of his food, the berries, they're sticking out like a sore thumb. Whether or not Magic is going to want to push out and start harassing that or not, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just wants to just say, no worries, do whatever you want for a little bit. I'm going to sit in my main base. There's a world here where, with Nullus buying things like watchtowers, that sort of world is slowly getting smaller and smaller, but he could move forward and try and enjoy some of those deers in the middle of the map while Magic is turtling in his base.
I think you should go for the deer because there is when you're playing Norse versus Egyptian in the classical age, you always know that there comes a time, usually around the 8 or 9 minute or something like that, where you just don't beat the Egyptian army anymore because the Egyptian numbers and just the way that the two Norse and Egyptian armies work, you just won't be able to win a fight anymore. So what I usually like to do when I play Norse, up until that point, I try to maximize whatever I can get from the map up until then. So that means don't go on berries now. Instead, you go on both deer packs, and also up until that point, you really want to be raiding consistently because it's very unlikely that the Egyptian players are even going to leave their base. We do see
Well,
some.
you're saying that right now, but some blue units are coming out. They do decide to turn back as the units come into Magic's main base. And I'm like thinking about what you're saying right now. What if Nullus, I mean, this is pretty crazy, but what if Nullus was on the second gold mine already, leaving gold in his main base?
Ooh, I like that idea. What if he was? And it's so
Small little,
close. It's so
yeah.
close to where he's mining right now. That would be such a big play if he did that.
Well, it's a we can theory craft it and say whatever. It's not what's happening. So for everyone who's struggling with your own games, give it a try and tell me how badly we lose games with our own theory crafting.
I think on this map in particular, where the second goal is so close, I think it just makes so much sense, and it does force the Egyptian player to move outside of their base already now, And then in turn, that opens up the possibility for this mobile Odin army to catch units out like we're seeing here. Even getting just one spearman, it's perfectly fine for Nullus if you can do that. He'll happily take that, I'm sure.
Yeah, this army, however, that Magic. Ooh, we're seeing Yord pre-queued here. This is not the Frost I was expecting, but maybe with a. I don't even know if I like this. He's gonna go in for maybe
No.
Jarls or something. He's gonna have the Walking Woods to help out in the army to give a little bit more of a boost. The one thing that Magic is doing, which we haven't really seen, or actually we did see it happen once. But I'm gonna dive into the very, very old games at the very start of Retold. It was like a Rappel versus Kavoth game. Kavoth went Spears Wadgets, and he actually ended up losing that entire army to Rappel in that game. I think if Nullus plays this one correctly, he can actually beat this army composition, especially now that it's been revealed to him what's coming.
You know what would beat this army comp? You know what Odin army would beat it? Pure Hearse with Sesrumia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
It's
armor upgrades.
and you're also going to grab yourself all the Valkyries as well after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can spam so many of them if you actually get them out. The issue, of course, is you need to hide them while this Spearman Wadget combo is being built.
Yeah.
But if you manage to do so there, it would be golden. This Njord, I'm struggling to see what value this is going to provide. 7 Walking Woods for defense isn't gonna do much here.
I mean, do they kill off the? He doesn't even have the heroes to deal with the Wadgets at the moment. He's got a whole bunch of Berserks queued up. That's not a terrible idea against Spearmen, but they die so quickly to the Wadgets so that I don't think it matters. And just look at the queue for Magic. He just goes, let me just play piano on my keyboard. I'm gonna just hit QWE over and over and over again and just spam these units out. But look at this here from Nullus. He's doing a little bit of a Magic action. One thing that Magic hasn't set up, which we often see from players like the Mister, Recon, Rappel, is the obelisks. They're not on the map. He doesn't know that the villagers are over here.
He should have, realistically, Nullus should have walked past like 3 or 4 obelisks on his way over to that gold mine.
Yeah. And this is going to give him a lot of time. He can now get himself out the Goatee. He can probably even go into some Jarls as well. I don't know. It's probably pretty expensive.
I don't think Jarls is not going to be the case against
he just needs to throw an Axeman, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't even know. He needs a heavy upgrade for either infantry or well, for infantry realistically, and he needs to get a bunch of infantry out. See if he can find the value with the heavy line upgrade over the classical age Egyptian army.
And because look at this also behind, just completely aside from that, Magic just leaves that gold mine. He doesn't put an obelisk up on there, so or maybe he has one. I can't see. Anyways, and now he's seeing Nullus forcing a fight here. This is what I think this is what Magic wants. I think he wants to take this fight. He's completely fine with it.
And there's no heavy upgrade in for Nullus. I don't understand why he's taking this fight. Like, he spent 1,200 resources to get 7 Walking Woods and a Mountain Giant, basically. I don't think that's worth it.
No, but the Throw and Axemen here, they're in a really good spot. Finally, the Slingers are starting to take them out. Population-wise, it's looking like Nullus is getting close to equal here, which will be in its advantage. The Wadget's falling on the back, and I think this is just a completely control problem. Nullus, he's confident, he pushes through. Now the Throw and Axemen are going to be falling, but the repopulation is going to be coming through for Magic here.
This is so well done from Nullus. I never saw this coming. The Walking Woods actually providing so much value here. I think they tanked a ton of what the Slingers did. And they also dealt really well with the Wadgets. And all in all, this Nullus army, this medium Nullus army in the Heroic Age, just doing so well against Magic. And now Magic's stuck in the Classical Age. And he's got an inferior army to Nullus, who's in the Heroic Age.
There are some ways to go wrong here for Nullus. He feels like he's got an advantage, but when you get an advantage against Egyptian with Norse, pushing and trying to win in that moment is very rarely the right move. You've got to kind of, I like this word. I've been starting to use it. You've got to consolidate the position. He's starting to build these buildings at the back, get a town center, get a hill fort, get economic upgrades, just get something extra, and then just wait for the next thing and win the next fight and win the next fight. You can't be throwing any of that stuff. But here's what Magic needs to do. Great raid over here. Finds the villages. He needs to sort of slow this economy of this huge economy train of Nullus down, as he does get a couple of kills.
Yeah, that's a big raid. Exactly what Magic needed here. 4 villagers dead in the process. Maybe could have wished for a bit more, but Magic definitely going to take that. Magic ahead by 10 vills. Just keep in mind, this is Odin versus Set. Norse generally tends to have a better economy than Set, so it's not as grim as it may look for Nullus here.
Yeah, the hard part is just making sure he's on gold mines, because he needs to remacro up an army and take another good fight. He's trying to get raids. He's got to distract while he's trying to build this army up. He is going for
Ooh,
Vikings here,
He's
Soup.
got-
He
and he-
wants to make raiding cavalry, but there's still a huge amount of these spearmen coming through. I like the idea because it gives him access to
Oh, yeah.
really beating axemen, but there aren't any axemen out.
I don't know. I feel like this is a bait, this Vikings. It's
a little bit.
Look at the army here for Magic. He's actually managed to replenish his army, and we're actually getting now to the point where the food situation matters a whole lot. Null's not
Yeah.
having access to the goats, Magic having access to all of the goats that he did. This is the reason why Magic is able to replenish his army so easily here. Well, still 14 goats remaining. It's insane. And now a new raid over onto the gold mine.
Yeah, he hasn't spotted that gold mine on the left, out of sight, out of mind. But these are the positions where Magic is at his best. When there's villages kind of all over the place. You've got a villager in the middle, a group of villagers on the hunt in the middle. You've got the villagers on the bottom now getting spotted over here, as he is now going to retreat away. And that's more villager kills. But they will be throwing axemen coming over to defend, so it won't be as bad as it could have been. A good defense there from Nullus, but he's now onto the right-hand side, and this is where Nullus is also good at this. He likes to do these kind of, I'm on the right side, I'm on the left side, I'm on the right side, and we'll see if Magic can actually convert his significant military advantage in this game.
What's going on here?
Oh, he just got Jotuns.
Yeah, I see.
We're on the old build.
Well, there's one big unit for Nullus, but not much more. These slingers are targeting down the throwing axemen, and Magic takes it.
Yeah, that was...
It looks so
that was
good.
so well played by Nullus up until that moment of, oh wait, I actually want to fight. Oh wait, that's the moment where you've got to consolidate that position, like I was saying, and Magic, he does the only thing that he can do in that spot, which is just spam dudes out again, and he's going to be able to get that second army out. So you just have to expect that that's going to come. But incredibly well played game and series from Magic.
Yeah, most definitely. Just the big goats and the hunt that he was able to secure in the archaic age coming in clutch. So the goal control game plan didn't quite work out, but then luckily for Magic, he still had that insane amount of food left in his base that he could fall back to, and then get those 50 food, 20 gold spearmen out in heaps, right?
Yeah. It's just the way it's how Egyptian gets their wins. If anyone out there buddying Egyptian players struggling, just build some barracks, play keyboard on your QWE, play piano on your QWE keys, and just spend all those resources and just get them into the fight. You got to play very specifically to defend against this sort of stuff as the Norse player.
In this fight, the throwing axeman just manages to sit there and hit and strike the spearmen, and I think that's the big difference between this fight and the last one. You have throwing axemen doing their job versus just crumbling to the insane damage that the slingers can dish out.
Yeah, generally, if there's like 7, 8 slingers in a fight, and here's that next one, he pulls back nicely on this. Well, actually, see the same fight. If there's like 7 or 8 slingers on a fight, they're normally taking those thrown axemen out faster than the thrown axemen can kill off the spearmen. But it seems like they just weren't quite managing to make that happen there.
We're back on the main menu. This is the menu we want to see. All right, what do we have? Arena coming up now?
No, this should be the series is done. No arena.
Oh wait! Oh my God, Magic.
We missed it. We miss out.
No arena.
No, I wanted to see arena.
Which god did they have? Gaia Ra remaining for Magic, and Nuwa Isis remaining for. Okay.
It would have been
No,
interesting for sure.